Oh.
I, Frank Toth,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Ohio,
the charter and ordinances of the city of North Ridgeville,
the charter and ordinances of the city of North Ridgeville,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of Planning Commission member
discharge the duties of Planning Commissioner
for the city of North Ridgeville
for the city of North Ridgeville
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right. Sign that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna make a copy of this and give it to you.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call to order the City of North Ridgeville Planning Commission meeting for January 14th, 2025. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Members of the board, Ali,
Present.
Toth,
Here.
Schuman,
Here.
Abens,
Here.
Smolik,
Here.
members of the administration, Planning and Development Director Lieber, City Engineer Evanson.
Okay, at this time, everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business is since it's the first meeting of the year, we have some housekeeping, election of officers. So we will go through each position, we will look for nominations, and then we will have a roll call vote at the end. The first position is chairman. I'd like to nominate myself for chairman, James Smolik. Do I have any other nominations for chairman? Or I said, do I have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, do I have any other nominations for chairman? Okay, hearing none, nominations for chairman is closed. At this time, I will take nominations for vice chairman.
I'll nominate myself if nobody's going to nominate me.
I will second that. Okay. Is there any other nominations for vice chairman? At this time, a vice chairman position is closed. Now we will go to secretary. I'd like to nominate Tina Weber for secretary.
Second.
Okay, do I have any other nominations for secretary? Hopefully not. Okay, good. All right, that's time. Nominations for secretary is closed. At this time, I am taking nominations for a liaison to the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals. You could nominate yourself.
I'd like to nominate myself.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do I have any other nominations for liaison to Board of Zoning and Building Appeals? Hearing none, that is closed. Next one is the alternate liaison to the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals. I'd like to nominate Steve Ali.
Second.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations for that position? All right, hearing none. That is closed. The last position is the Planning Commission appointment to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council. Do we have any nominations? I'd like to nominate myself, James Smolek.
Second.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations for that? Okay. That Planning Commission appointment to Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council is closed. That's all of them. We have no people running up against each other, so we could do a roll call vote for all of them at one time. Madam Secretary, please read off each position and the nominee.
For chairman, Smolik. For vice chairman, Schuman. For secretary, Tina Weber. For liaison to BZBA, Frank Toth. For alternate liaison to BZBA, Steve Ali. And for the Planning Commission appointment to Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council, Smolik.
Is there any discussion at this time for those nominations? All right, hearing none. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Ali,
Yes.
Toth,
Yes.
Schuman,
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Smolik.
Yes.
Elections carry unanimously.
All right. Next order of business is approval of the minutes from our regular meeting on December 10th, 2024. Did everyone get a chance to review those minutes? Is there any corrections at this time? Hearing none, those minutes shall stand. Next order of business is administrative approvals. Director Lieber.
Mr. Chair, since your last meeting, we had one approval of a zoning certificate for Modern Massage and Spa on Center Ridge Road that will be going into the building shared with Pulp. Thank you.
Okay. All right, at this time, we will read the first application.
PPZ 2024-0319, city limits 39462 Center Ridge Road, PPN 07-046-101-006, owner Stephen Joseph, 36821 Sugar Ridge Road, North Ridgeville, Ohio 44039. Proposal consists of site improvements for restaurant and lounge. Property is zoned I3 Heavy Industrial District. And then there's an updated note that City Council approved the rezoning to B3 Highway Commercial District on January 6, 2025, effective February 5th, 2025.
Okay. Director Lieber, findings of fact.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because council has approved the rezoning, even though it hasn't taken into effect, I just advise the Planning Commission to consider as if this property were rezoned for the purpose of your review and recommendation this evening. The applicant is proposing to open a restaurant and lounge in the existing building on this property. Additionally, the proposal includes the construction of a new patio on the west side of the building. Restaurants are permitted use in the district, while bars and taverns are conditional uses in the B3 Highway Commercial District. So I'd recommend that in addition to your approval of the development plan, that you issue a conditional use permit for the bar tavern component, since it appears to be a significant portion of this particular business. The existing building is non-conforming in that it does not meet the current front or side setback requirements, although it's been there a long time. Additionally, the parking lot area was formerly striped in a manner that did not meet our code requirements, which have been updated recently, and also failed to meet the required 10-foot yard setback from the right-of-way line in the front. The submittal shows some changes to the south elevation of the building, and in our staff review meeting with the applicant, we had indicated that the elevations needed more detail of materials and construction detail. To date, those changes have not been additionally provided at the time of my report or at the time of this meeting at this point. The patio itself would involve the removal of 2 sets of existing stairs and some of the landscaped area outside the building. The construction of the patio would be about 6 feet above grade. ADA ramp would be installed and new stairs. The applicant showing a small flower bed area that would separate the ADA ramp from the right-of-way area, which would help to create some definition in the front of the building. A dumpster enclosure shown towards the rear of the property, which is required by code, and that detail's been provided. One of the challenges of the current site is that the ingress and egress is not well-defined, and in the past, even there are parking spaces that actually encroached into the city right-of-way along the front of the building. So this project has the opportunity to address some of these previous problems. Parking's going to be reconfigured to provide the required setback from the right-of-way. The proposed plan shows the use of paint striping to delineate one way in and one way out. So the ingress will be on the west, and the egress will be closer to the building there on the east side. The parking spaces do meet our code requirements for size. The plan does include ADA spaces. Based upon the proposed seating provided by the applicant, the parking would be adequate. Total of 50 spaces is shown in the plan, which would satisfy the 39 required by the bar restaurant and then also the salon. I do recommend that the parking lot be patched, sealed, and restriped, so it's not in the best condition and could use a little bit of refurbishment as this restriping, before this restriping happens. Some landscaping has been provided. The applicant has proposed landscape planters both along the south face of the building and then also in that area to the west of the entrance drive. He's showing a raised bed around the ground sign and also that planter box along the ADA ramp. The applicant provided some additional detail since our staff review meeting about how the remainder of the site would be treated. That's currently kind of weeds and ill-maintained along that west property line and that point in the back. They're now showing some better notes about the treatment of those areas. We continue to require more detail on the elevations to include proposed colors, materials, and construction detail of any exterior changes. I know we had also talked in our staff review about just making sure that any railing around the patio goes all the way around so that there aren't any exposed edges where patrons could fall off. And then also the city requires a photometric plan. The light fixture information provided doesn't meet our code requirements for a photometric plan that shows illumination levels, and it was a little vague on what kind of pole or fixtures were going to be provided and whether or not they met our requirements. So that's still an outstanding issue as of this meeting. And then just to bring your attention to the letter that was submitted by the Ohio Turnpike and their request to provide a fence along the shared property line with the Turnpike to prevent patrons from entering. So I know you have received that letter and it's on your desk, but just to additionally point that out. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a member in the audience who represents, city engineer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have much to add over Ms. Lever's report. As she mentioned, the prepared site plan does show parking striping in accordance with our new parking standards, including the drive aisle and parking stall sizes. The drive aisle does appear to be traversable for our emergency services, but that will be reviewed with the fire department during final plan review. Since this is an area that we are not necessarily targeting to improve for our active transportation plan for pedestrian activity, we did not specifically ask for a dedicated sidewalk. However, most of the entire tree lawn area in front of this property is asphalt. Therefore, I would recommend that the applicant include this area of pavement to be resealed and adjust for maintenance so any pedestrian could traverse across the property safely. Because there is no major site renovation being done to the project, engineering did not ask for any stormwater management measures. However, we did ask the applicant to reduce the amount of hardscape surfaces, and he has done that, as Ms. Lever had mentioned, with additional landscape features that are shown on the site plan. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if you gentlemen represent the applicant, please state your name and address for the record and tell us a little bit more additional information outside the findings of fact.
I'm Steve Joseph. Address is 36821 Sugar Ridge Road. I'm the owner of the property.
And Jeffrey Smith, Geoffrey. 124 Middle Avenue, Elyria, Ohio. I'm his counsel. So go ahead and, if you address those points for her.
I think,
Thank
we,
you for your time this evening, too.
thank you. We restriped, we took back the striping because it was encroaching towards the road, towards the right of way, so we moved that back and, added some planters and added that the one section is gonna be grass where the telephone pole, and there's tall grass from the railroad. And we're gonna mow that down and then keep that as a maintained grassed area, at the edge of the parking lot. And the back triangle, we're just gonna stone it in. And I was gonna put, evergreens back across there, or winter gems across the back parking lot there. And then just maintain, weed-free stone, triangle out back, because I don't want nobody back there, because all it is telephone poles anyway, from the railroad tracks and all that, so. And then as far as the fence, the fence by the turnpike, you want me to address this one?
I'll take care of it.
Okay, you'll take care of that one. Other than that, the one thing I gotta do is I wanna put a facade on the front of the building. And I think that's all on the engineered, the architect drawings. So I don't know whether you need those before or what for the facade, for the front facade. Those are on the architectural
Well-
drawings.
Yeah, that would be part of the development plan.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, just a couple things. You know, obviously, you know this is a tough property to deal with based on its configuration. You know, Steve has put a lot of time and effort into doing this. The facade is something that's kind of a work in progress. The parking obviously has been corrected according to what the city wants in terms of the ingress and egress. He certainly will pave the front of it. The photomatic plan, my understanding is, I'll let him talk to that about a second, but I was a little surprised at the letter from the Turnpike, to be quite frank with you. I mean, I very rarely see where a neighbor comes in and says, I want you to put up a fence to protect my property. There's probably close to 15-foot embankment there that the Turnpike has already. And they certainly would be able to put their own fence in if they wanted to. But, you know, he's gonna try and clean this property up and see what we can do. But I think that was, you know, I mean, fences are the only thing I can think of where fences are required is when you put a pool in your backyard to keep people in your own yard. So I was a little surprised by the fence requirement. I don't know, you know, obviously I haven't been along a Turnpike route before that I can remember in my 40 years, but I don't think that's something that the commission should concern itself with. But if you address the lighting in the parking lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get another drawing. I'll get an engineer to do the drawing on the lighting, but the lighting's all existing right now. The whole property's only 1.25 acres. So, and there's 5 LED lights around the building plus the sign that's out front of the parking lot. So, but I'll get an engineer to investigate that. You know, that's not a problem. Lighting in the parking lot shouldn't be a problem. Now, the Turnpike, can I add something to the Turnpike?
Sure.
Okay, because the Turnpike, it's 6-story hill up there. If you ever go to the property, the building's only 2 stories. The hill's 3 stories, 3 times the size of the building. There is a fence there that Ohio Turnpike has there, and it's got barbed wire on it already. So there's nobody that can cross into the Turnpike hill. And there's a 4-foot ditch right after that fence, where it's a drainage ditch from the hill, and it goes north over into Elyria. So, yeah, I don't know, the fence is already there. It's already existing.
I found it as an odd, you know, if we try to get a hold of the Turnpike, who knows when they're gonna respond to us. But, you know, I found it as an odd request. And we'll answer any questions that you have.
Okay, I'm going to first open it up to the general public. Is there anybody in the audience who has a question or comment in regards to this project? Okay, hearing none, public input is closed. Does any of the commission members have any questions or comments for the applicant?
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
So this, this fence that's there now, this is a 4-foot fence? Does it-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it run the length of the property?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you said there's barbed wire on top of it?
Yes.
Okay.
And I did not put that there. That was.
It's all the way down?
It's from the road, yeah, from Center Ridge. And it's across Center Ridge all the way to underneath the overpass.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, as it pertains to your lighting, the other suggestion I would have is make sure Ohio Turnpike reviews your lighting plan as well. I know from experience that they can be a hassle in that regards too, because they've got an easement that goes 40, 50 feet away from the turnpike.
Thank you for that, yes.
Yeah, so let them review it, and, yeah, that's it.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Steve?
So I said, Mr. Chair, that's all I can, say is, you're getting it cleaned up. It's, the property's been an eyesore. You know, I'm a neighbor, and, it's looking good what they're doing so far, and, I mean, I think that fence is probably a little bit overkill. What's there is, I mean, it retains, the public, whatever, where it's at right now. So, I mean, I have no problem with the way it is, so, that's all I have to say.
Okay. Is there any further questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the director brought up a couple other things. Do you have any problem with the recommendation about patching and sealing the parking lot before you stripe it?
absolutely not.
Okay. I'd like to add that as a recommendation then. And then it sounds like they would like some more detail on the facade, material-wise, right? Is that what we're talking about, materials?
That's correct.
Okay, and then, so that's that front elevation, I guess, all the way around the building, right? You want to know what they're going to be using for material?
Mr. Chair, to Mr. Schuman's question, yeah. So, I mean, the submittal was basically a kind of an artistic representation of an idea.
Right.
But it does not contain enough data to approve and then to issue a permit by. So it might show the commission the direction that the applicant's going, but it doesn't have, materials, measurements, colors, or any construction detail that we would normally require for any building changes. So again, I'd treat it as like a conceptual at this point rather than something that the commission can act on.
Would it be appropriate for us to have this be a recommendation that it is, the details are given to the city to your satisfaction?
If the commission would like to do that, that's certainly within your authority to delegate, my review of building changes. So long as you are happy with what you've seen in the package and the direction it's going. So if you're not happy, let me know, because that would be what I would base my future approval on.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're happy to do that, to provide architectural drawings, measurements, more of a facade, that you know what the materials are, et cetera. Whatever Kim would like.
Thank you.
Is there any other further questions or comments?
Yes, through the chair.
Yes.
Will there be a sign package coming through towards us for the refurbishment of the main sign? And also, I noticed that you're going to have directional signs here, do not enter, enter, and do not enter signs also. Is there a requirement for a sign package to be coming through for approval?
Any new sign would require a permit. Our code does allow for driveway signs where there are limited access drives. So where there's a one way in or one way out, our code makes an allowance for some additional signage that would otherwise not be permitted, so long as doesn't exceed a certain height. So yeah, we would need to see, that would need to be submitted for permit, and we would review it at that time. The applicant hasn't indicated any signage other than the notes on the plan at this point intended. So yeah, we haven't seen that yet.
Okay, thank you. Back to this fence. The fence that is currently there, Is that your fence on your property? So that is Turnpike
No.
property that they have fenced off?
That was the turnpike, fenced that off, because it goes all the way from the underpass. And with the turnpike underpass, it goes all the way to the corner, and all the way straight down the turnpike, all the way to the railroad track.
So they have effectively fenced their property off from you?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. Also, I was looking at where you were placing your outdoor deck, and it appeared to me that you're going to go right across a man door on the side of the building there. So the demolition plans show you're removing the 2 staircases, and then you're building a deck, I believe it's 57 feet from the front of the building towards the rear. Looked to me like it was going to be very close to that glass entry
Oh,
area.
there's gonna be room between there. It's not going up against that glass. It's gonna be 3 foot away.
So you will cover up that one man door then on the side of on the west side of the building?
No,
There-
that building, that door's gonna get raised. It's gonna be on top. I'm gonna raise it up above. So there's gonna be 2 entrances from the patio into the building.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
There's gonna be the main entrance, and then that's gonna be another, like emergency door. But I'm gonna raise it. It's there now. It's existing.
Yes, sir,
I'm just gonna raise it up to the height of
of the deck.
the deck, yes.
Okay, and I believe you did state you're going to put a railing all the way around that deck?
Yes, the engineer plan does have it on there. Where it shows the patio with the staircase with the railings on it. Your engineered, the other second drawing, right there. Yes, it shows it, I don't know,
I see the
if I can go
diagram
over
there.
You could go point, yes.
Yeah, it shows it right here, this is all the railing right here. It shows the railing right there, it goes around. And, I think it says on here too, it says, railing all the way, ramp up. But the railing, yeah, the railing goes all the way up to handicap and all the way around the deck.
I think that if that was the intent, it's just not represented very clearly, so that would make Commissioner approval. That
I thought it showed it all there. But I can get that to correct that. The engineer,
Okay,
I get
thank
the
you.
engineer to correct that.
Okay.
Also, there was a dock in the back that had what appeared to be like a residential type garage door, pull-down door, 16-footer. Are you going to use that as your loading dock?
No,
And
there's no access in back there.
there's no access? Okay, can I ask how you're going to take deliveries at this location?
Off the loading dock off the east side of the building, there is a dock there already, a truck dock.
So in between your building and the embankment of the turnpike, there's a loading
Yes.
dock?
Yes, it's existing.
Okay. And I believe,
And that's also an emergency escape, and it's got staircase and railings on it already,
okay.
so.
And I believe in the notes here, you stated that the beauty salon is going to continue
Yes,
utilizing the rear of the building there?
yes.
Okay. And will there be an entrance into city limits from that glass area?
No,
So that will be specifically for the rear of the building,
Yes.
business, whatever that may
that is
be at that
correct.
time? Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, I like the fact that, we're trying to redevelop this parcel. I think this plan needs a little bit more polishing. There's a couple things that I'm uncomfortable with. The number one thing is the entrance to the parcel. We have a utility pole and a fire hydrant probably within 5 feet of that. I would like to see possibly that drive entryway shifted to the west because cars are gonna clip that. I could see that happening. And that's a relatively large utility pole. It can't be moved. So it looks like it's a major transmission line. So
May I ask you where you're talking about?
just right where there's a utility pole shown right on their plan. And there's a hydrant there too.
And that's, okay, so we have the
Yeah, right there.
utility poles right here. There's a sign and there's a fire hydrant right here where I'm gonna
Right.
put a flower bed, so it's gonna protect it a little bit.
But it's still in the turning radius entering. I mean, it's too close.
Okay, you want this shifted a little less.
I think it would be beneficial for your patrons and everybody if it gets shifted away from that utility pole.
How many feet?
That would be up to your engineer of record, because they have to do their due diligence and design.
Okay.
Right. And then, so I guess, based on the level these plans are at, I'm very uncomfortable with it at this point in time. Obviously, the administration has some issues that they want addressed as well. And it's just a matter of just collecting some more information as well. I think, overall, I think it's a great plan. I just don't think we're there yet. So obviously, we have to do the photometric plan that needs to be submitted, and then the front elevation, that all needs to be worked out.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That's fine.
so I guess my question to you, gentlemen, are you looking for a vote tonight?
I mean, if he pulls it down. If it's the commission's wish to ship it on to the next meeting, we're certainly welcome to do that, to get the plans,
Okay, we could table it.
yeah, to redo them a little bit and try and get you a little bit more comfortable with what's going on.
Okay,
I'm agreeing to that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, because that's fine.
all right.
So really, the issues is the photo and the facade and the turning radius on that.
Well, my issues, yeah, obviously, my issues would be the entryway.
Sliding it over a little bit,
Right. I'm sorry, what was that?
sliding it over a little bit.
Sliding it to the west, correct, yeah. And then the other thing, if we could get the emergency vehicle turning radius shown on the lot as well.
Shown on the plan.
Yes, your engineer could throw that in
I
there.
thought that you said that the emergency vehicles was not an issue getting in and out. I said it would be reviewed during. Oh, during, yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay,
Mr. Chairman?
go ahead.
Also, if we could get some more definition on that sign area where he stated he was going to build up a flower bed to protect
Right,
the fire hydrant and the post, the transmission pole.
okay.
Now, you understand that the fire hydrant sticks out further than the telephone pole, so it's out in the right-of-way by Center Ridge.
Yes, sir.
So it only sits about 2 feet off of Center Ridge, as the pole sits about 6 feet off of Center Ridge.
We'll do what we can
Yeah,
with it.
we'll figure it
Okay.
out.
Mr.
But I can't go in the right-of-way and
Right.
protect that.
Mr. Chairman, so detail on the rail, you want to make sure that's in the plan? And then you want to give us better detail on the materials for the facade and all the materials on the outside of the building, right?
Yeah,
What
it's
else
all a
was
brick
there?
building, I'm just gonna, yes, what I was gonna do is add stucco to the brick, just to break it up, because it's a brick building, so I'm not really gonna do anything with the brick. And then the facade, I was gonna use steel siding, put a little, just a little, what do you call it, a mansard.
You want to have materials that you're actually going to be
Yeah.
using. You want to have a,
I can do that,
yeah, so.
absolutely.
You
I'll
might
give
as well have it,
colors.
might as well, as long as you're coming back, you might as well do it.
Yeah,
Yep, and
Got it
I'll
all
give you
lined up,
colors and
okay.
everything.
Great.
Yep,
okay. Thank you all for
Mr.
your
Chair.
time. Thank you.
Another
Thank you very
question I
much.
would have, and I don't know for sure, the Ohio Turnpike is requesting that fence. Do we have to adhere to that request?
No.
Okay. They can be tough, they can be difficult.
Your next meeting is when? Is it the second?
Second Tuesday in February.
That date is? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for
wanna
your
make a
time.
Yeah, I'll make
We'll try to get all that put together for you, so you don't have any contingencies in your motion.
Okay.
At this time, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we table this for this month.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Ali,
Yes.
Toth,
Yes.
Schuman,
Yes?
Avens.
Yes.
Smolik.
Yes,
Motion carried unanimously.
thank you. I think we all like the project, we just need a little polishing.
That's fine. Hey, we're all on board. This is good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Madam Secretary, please read the next application.
PPZ 2024-0327 South Central Park Playground, 7565 Avon Belden Road, PPN 07-00-022-101-054, applicant Jeff Snyder, Snyder Recreation, 10139 Royalton Road, Suite K, North Royalton, Ohio, 44133. Proposal consists of playground removal and new playground installation. Property is zoned R1 Residential District.
Okay, findings of fact, Director Lieber?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will give the presentation over to our Parks and Rec Director, not steal his thunder. I'll just mention that this is coming to you because of the mandatory referral provision in our charter that any public improvements must be reviewed and approved by Planning Commission. So,
Okay, city engineer. And I didn't forget this time.
And of course, I don't have any comment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Snyder. Or I guess whoever is representing the applicant.
You want to go?
Guys, state your name and address for the record.
Kevin Fugrousse, Fougerousse, address is 29940 Westminster Drive, North Homestead, Ohio, 44070.
Jeff Snyder, 7668 North Linden Lane, Parma, Ohio, 44130.
Thank you, committee. We're here today, obviously, to present a new playground in South Central Park. We sent out RFQs back in October for design build. We worked with GPD Group as our lead architect. We received 5 proposals back at that time. Recommendations by the city and GPD Group were to award the project to Snyder Recreation. The playground is replacing the current structure that we have in place that's been there since 1997. The new playground is going to be located in the same location as the existing playground. Playground is for structure will be for ages 5 through 12. Also, a benefit to this, Northridge Rotary is also donating $15,000 to this project as well. As part of that, they will actually be purchasing the zip line that you see on, I guess, on the north end of that project. We do have multiple walkways already adhered to the project for ADA accessibility, coming from Pop Schultz Lane off of Bainbridge Road, and also off the main parking lot off of Avon Belden Road. There's ample shade for the playground, the new playground that will be installed, as it's umbrellaed by hundreds and hundreds of trees out in the park system. So we're pleased to finally get this moving. It's been a couple years in the process, so yeah, I'm happy about it. So, any questions?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Seeing I don't see anybody in the audience, I guess I could close the general public session. Does any of the commission members have any questions or comments on this project?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
just one. What's your timeline? What are we looking at?
What's from approval from Planning Commission, we already have the contract that was approved. Once we get approval, we'll start moving forward with it. Snyder Recreation will hopefully break ground, barring any setbacks in February, so
Nice.
we can have this open in spring for
That'd be great.
residents. So,
Super, thank you.
yep.
Is there any other question or comments?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Councilman.
the spider web, I'll call it that. Is that actually rope? Is that gonna be rope?
It's a nylon rope with steel inserts.
Okay. So it needs to be changed from periodically?
No, there might be some wear on it where you might have to do replacements to certain pieces, but it's actually steel threaded with nylon around the steel.
Okay.
So unless somebody goes out with a hacksaw or something like that, they're not gonna be cutting through it.
And the potential for a kid hanging himself is very minimal?
It's designed not to be able to loop and get around somebody's neck.
Yeah, just remember, there's no foolproof system. There's
It's
always a-
designed with enough tension that it can't.
There's always a fool out there to prove me wrong.
Is there any other questions or comments from the commission?
Yes, through the chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Snyder, it's a pleasure to see you, to meet you. I went through your application here, and I trust Mr. Fugaros's judgment on many, many, many things, all things actually, that I've had experience with him on. But I wanted to take a look at at what your past performance had looked like. So I took the liberty to call some of the past performance references that were given to us as part of our package. And I called up these references, and I asked them 3 questions. And I'd like to share with my fellow commission members and you the responses that I received. The first question I asked of these people were, did Snyder do what they said they were going to do, and did they do it in the time they estimated it would take? And the responses to that question I received were yes, very patient, overperformed, very pleased, numerous projects, great communication, always on time, absolutely great communication, above and beyond, experienced crew, a multi-generational operation. That was the first question I had asked. The second question I asked were they responsive to concerns which arose during the project, and were they flexible and creative with their solutions to your concerns and/or any unanticipated challenges encountered? Responses I've received to that. One city, the director told me that their playground was located on a quarry, that they were not aware of this, and that you hit bedrock 36 inches down. You did not charge them any additional money. You did not bemoan your situation. You simply got to work and you did the situation. You handled the situation. Another response was yes, they were very easy to get a hold of. Response usually less than a day, and you provide numerous workarounds to problems if there is some type of delay in getting a part or some type of material. Another response was never any issues with them. 3 projects, 0 change orders. And also, a recommendation on the zip line has proven to be the most popular item in their playground. Everybody loves that. This particular director stated there was a problem with theirs, and that you folks were able to basically remanufacture part of the zip line so that it functioned to their satisfaction and to the community's enjoyment. And the final question I asked them was, in your opinion, did your community realize maximum return on its investment by employing Snyder Recreation? I've got an oh my God, yes. It's a destination playground. I have absolutely nothing but positive feedback with their projects. The zip line is a real crowd pleaser. Absolutely far and above other vendors we have used for similar projects. 3 quotes, apples to apples, absolutely hands down the best. So, sir,
Thank you.
I am really looking forward to see what you will put together here for our city. Thank you very much.
All right, is there any other questions or comments? I guess I have one question, gentlemen. The swing location, it sort of seems a little bizarre to me. Usually they're on the perimeter. Obviously, the zip line is a popular feature. I think kids are going to be running through the swings when kids are on them. Was there any thought about moving that to one of the perimeters?
When we originally talked, we kind of 3D is probably not representing it quite right.
Yeah.
The zip line's gonna be a little bit further back, almost, I don't know, we kinda have space in between.
Correct. Yeah, the 3D rendering's not, it's gonna be a little bit further back from the swings. It's not gonna be like right on top.
Okay.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, the rendering's not really showing that, but, there is ample amount of space for that to go through, so.
Cause we had to move, cause the Frisbee golf, we had to kind
Correct.
of position it a little bit.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's just one other thing I noticed because I'm very familiar with zip lines. So,
You go on one every day, don't you?
and then I concur with all those comments in regards to Snyder Recreation. I've professionally known them for a long time, done multiple projects with them, no issues. So, is there any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
what type of base is gonna be in the playground?
Wood fiber,
Wood,
wood fibers.
really? Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, this time the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend for approval.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Ali,
Yes.
Toth,
Yes.
Schuman,
Yes.
Havens.
Yes.
Smolik,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Is there any other new business that shall be brought to the commission this evening?